everybody back to another week of RCU Underground Radio. I'm super excited. We got a great guest today, and I know everybody's going to listen to this one from beginning to end. We have got Kevin Smith from Whitz Racing, from the Four Crown Nationals, from the Whitz Tri-State Challenge Series. You name it, Kevin's all over it in this hobby. And anybody that knows Kevin, he is deep in it. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome, Dave.
We have a lot to unpack. We're still in the indoor series, and that's when you guys are going to be there with the Four Crown Nationals. But then we're going to flip the narrative, and then we're going to be talking about once we're out in the sunshine and finally get some warm weather in all these different Midwest states. And we're going to talk about the Tri-State Challenge Series. So the Four Crown Nationals, that's going to be March 20th and 21st at PT's. So tell us what's going on there and what's the latest and greatest. There's got to be a lot of really good, things to talk about for that event.
Well, I mean, first off, just the venue that we picked for the Four Crown Nationals, which should be like the banger of all. PT's club races have been pulling up.
Let's start with Four Crown because that's coming up next weekend.
160, 180, average 170 competitors for club races. So I realize that we're down to 4 classes, but I don't think we're going to have an issue with car count. Fingers crossed. But we chose PTs because Tom and Paul have done an exceptional job with their facility. They do an exceptional job with their facility. They do an exceptional job with the program. I mean, from the time you walk in the door to the time you walk out the door, I can't say anything negative about that place. They put their heart and soul into it. They work their butts off to make sure the track is good. Racing, we're generally 3 lines. So I think more than anything, the race has to catch up to the facility. With it being the first year program, and we went out on a limb. We talked to Tom and said, "Hey, let's do something special." And actually, this was Clue Connor's actual idea. I mean, Clue is the owner of Whitz. Clue has a pretty entrenched history in big car racing as well. So obviously, everybody knows that he sponsors midgets for Chili Bowl. He sponsored the Extreme Midget Series a couple years ago, and then also has a large background with dirt track racing. So it's pretty near and dear to him. So he's sitting there, he's like, what can we do cool? He says, man, it'd be cool to do a 4 Crown. And he wanted to do it sort of with the series. I said, no, we've got to do that as a standalone event. It's got to be, and I said, I love what you're saying. I said, but we've got to do it as a standalone event, and we've got to do it with legitimately 4 classes. And as soon as I said that, he says, oh, man, we got to put a bounty on this. Somebody wins all 4, they're getting paid.
That's cool.
I sort of choked because I'm like, oh, well, I wasn't going to go that far. Just wanted to put on the event, and it snowballed from there. So I reached out to Tom. I said, hey, what do you think about doing this? And he's like, well, we've got Midget Mayhem. And, we jumped on board for Midget Mayhem. Midget Mayhem went off without a hitch. I mean, it was a great event. So, we get through Midget Mayhem, and we've already got dates set for 4 Crown. And I'm really positive towards the way 4 Crown is trending right now. And it's not that we're trying to leave anybody out. We're not trying to segregate anything. We're just trying to do something that's just a little bit different than what everybody's doing. So 4 Crown is the Whitz 13.5 midgets, mod sprint, mod late model, Midwest modifieds. Now, the true 4 Crown nowadays is wing sprints, non-wing sprints, midgets, and Silver Crown. Obviously, we do not have a presence in non-wing sprints anymore, other than Chili Bowl. And we don't have a presence in Silver Crown, obviously. I'm sure if we tell Dustin that we need him, we'll have a Silver Crown car next. Don't give them any ideas.
Right.
Uh, Midwest Mod has sort of taken over a lot of Illinois, Missouri, I believe. Sort of, I won't say it's replaced the SC Mod, but it's stepped in for the SC Mod. So it's all 10 scale. So we decided that we were going to do those 4 classes. It's all mod-based classes aside from the midget, and the midget we couldn't leave out because that's just midget's like a staple class of the 4 crown. And frankly, the midget class at PTs has been pretty stout. So, but Clue came up with the idea. He says, "Hey, let's put a bounty on it. Somebody can win all 4. They're getting $1,500 cash.
Wow.
Somebody can win 3. They're getting $750 cash. Somebody wins 2. I think I posted it the other night. You're getting a feature win sticker from PTs, because anytime you make an A main at PTs, you've done something special. So, I mean, I would probably frame the feature winner sticker from PTs if it was me. There's only been one true winner of all 4, and that was Jack Hewitt.
Exactly.
That's the only true winner.
Right.
So, it's to do it, you're putting your name up there. Is this event, the best event in the nation for the year? No. But I'll tell you right now, I think if you can win all 4, everybody's going to be talking about it.
Yeah, I have to say from my end, so here's some of my perspective of it. Only 4 classes, tremendous. I think that's actually what's going to pull more racers, because you're not going to be racing until 3 o'clock in the morning. You've got an opportunity that if you go there to race, you can kind of strategically plan your weekend. You can easily run all 4 classes, and you've got a great incentive to do so. $1,500, folks.
There's a little bit of incentive there.
Man, that's wild. And so you're going to pull the best of the best, because the best of the best are going to say, "Yep, I could do that. I run all those 4 classes. I have cars for that. Yep, I absolutely can win it." And then that word gets out. And now the first half of it are the elite racers from all over the country that want to come out and feel very, very confident they could do it. And then you've got racers in the middle that say, I gotta be there. All these guys are going to be there. I have to compete. This is my opportunity to compete with that level of racer and see how I stack up. I'm pretty good in my local area. I want to see what I can do against these guys. I believe the 4 divisions is going to open a lot of eyes in the RC community and say, is 10 classes really what we should be doing? Look what happened at 4 Crown. Look how many guys were there, right? So I think that's really going to be a positive, actually. So at some point, I think it'll be one of those often imitated, never duplicated. Everybody will be like, oh, yeah, they're trying to be like 4 Crown. But everybody will know there's only one 4 Crown.
I mean, listen, we are trying to be like 4 Crown, but we're 10 scale.
Yeah. But I'm saying from the RC community, it will become popular enough and well known enough that everybody will just say, oh, they're trying to be like, RC 4 Crown. It's going to become very, very well known, and it'll be in the equation. It'll be in the conversation. It already is. I mean, it already is. There's guys up here from Wisconsin planning to come, and like you say, all the neighboring states, you're going to have the best from Indiana and Illinois and Missouri, and you're going to have some hitters here out of Wisconsin. You're going to have a lot of the guys that were just at the duels. I was at the duels. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was talking 4 Crown. So it's really something you've put together. It's a great tribute and kind of teamwork with the full-size 4 Crown, because that means so much to so many people, and that it's this homage that's taking place at the RC level. Boy, I'd love to see some of those guys who run the big cars, at least come out there. and check it out. They're probably going to be on the road, but
I did try getting Meserole to come, but I don't know. I don't know if I could call him out enough to get there or not. I don't know what his big car schedule is yet, but
yeah,
if we could get him to come over for the day, that'd be pretty good. But yeah, I mean we've got a couple guys from the big car world that would be legitimate contenders.
yeah,
Um, so but the biggest thing about the Four Crown is we've tried. I mean, you say people are talking about it. I I don't know that I've heard it, and maybe I've not heard it because I've sort of zoned it out and tried to just forge forward with everything and make sure that it's a great event, and not really trying to let it get in my head. We've tried this before. We did the Crown Jewel at Backyard. That was a 2 day event, $1,000 to win, and that event went off great.
hmm
Um, a couple people have said, "Well, this is a Crown Jewel event." No, it's not. It's the Four Crown. The Crown Jewel no longer exists. There is no Crown Jewel event anymore. It no longer exists. When Tony stepped out and went to go-kart racing, there's no more Crown Jewel. I don't care what anybody says. Tony and Clue and I put that together when it was said and done. Even after that event, we said, that went off great, but we think that's a once in a lifetime deal. Four Crown, I don't think Four Crown. I want it to go off without a hitch, so we can do this again next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that, and build. Um, is it going to be, like I said? Is it going to be the staple event of the year? No, but I hope at the end of the year people are still talking about it.
yeah. I don't think that's going to be a problem.
I've heard some names that have said that they're coming. I don't want to drop names because I don't want any disappointment, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But if half the names that say they're coming show up, it's going to be a show. I mean, for sure. Because look at the competition you already have at PTs the way it is. You got Malakote there just about every Saturday. Burmeister, the Howards. I mean, Jared Howard is a machine. If I was to put my money on anybody right now, it would probably be Jared Howard. I think he could pull it off. Burmeister has been incredible there. Spencer Dirks has been lightning fast there. Now, I don't know if he's got a midget, but if he doesn't have a midget, somebody needs to get a hold of him and have one for him because I think Spencer could pull it off. Justin Atkinson, Nick Henderson, they put in their work. I mean, Mike Murphy was going to be one of my picks, but it sounds like he's going to be out of the country for vacation. So
Okay.
some people are lucky that he's not going to be there.
Right.
Um, Cole Dolbert has been fast, and he's even been fast in a midget. So if he's got a ride for all four, it could get interesting. I mean, there is Dylan Cook. He put together a midget for this. He hasn't ran the midget, but I mean, he's been fast and everything else. I mean, there is a list of names that legitimately, given just the luck of the draw, could be there for all four.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, just there alone, you name like a dozen guys that have a absolute legitimate shot of not just winning a race, but like going for the 1,500. That's crazy. How many? If you had to guess, how many total guys do you think will race all four divisions?
Realistically, I'm going to set my number low and say probably just barely in the two digits. So I'd say 10.
Okay.
I'd say
Okay. And
10.
you named 12 guys off the top of your head. So let's say 10 of them run all four. That's 10 guys with a legitimate shot at $1,500.
Yeah,
You
that says that 1,500 may be going away really quick.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope. Yeah. You better have a
I
couple
you you
bodyguards with him
know
if he's bringing cash.
I'm going to be cash will be in hand. You're getting paid in cash at the end of the night if you win all four. That's that. Um, you know, we're not dragging you out of bed to come there and get a fake check and we'll send you the money next week. You're getting cash at the end of the night. So really and truly, I hope somebody can pull off all four, because if somebody can pull off all four, you're going to be talking about this event all year.
And years to come.
You know,
The first one it's just going to be wild. That's wild. Just it's so great for the hobby. What you do and what Whitz does to bring excitement to RC racing. I know there's been some reports about how some set numbers of how the RC community is growing and thriving. And I know you're not gonna say it, but it's because a lot of what you guys do through Whitz. I mean, supporting events makes people want to go get race cars and come out and race.
let's face
And
it, um, it's not me. None of this could be possible without Clue Connors at Wits Racing. You know, everybody jokes around. Well, we've never seen you two in the same place together. Clue even jokes about it, but without him, this wouldn't be possible. When I started with Wits 5 years ago, we laugh about it because we had a 10 by 20 tent at RC Chili Bowl with two guys in it. This year we had a 20 by 40 with 17 guys in it. And by the time the week was over, we had roughly, the stats were amazing, but I mean, we had a ton that were heat race winners, that were, qualifier winners, clear up to, let's see, Nick Henderson, Jared Howard, Thomas Turek. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple. There was 4 or 5 that were locked into A mains. There's several in the B mains. There were several right there. We went from two guys in the tent the first year that didn't know a damn thing about what they were doing. We're lucky to even race on Saturday, to guys that were there at the end of the night on Saturday night. And like I said, it's not me. It's been the support that I've got from the guys in Illinois. It's been the support from the guys that have been taking care of the product out in Pennsylvania, clear to Texas. It's Clue has allowed me to, I guess, broaden the reach in Dirt Oval. And without his support, we couldn't do it. He could easily say no. We've had a lot of people that have jumped in and been running the product and supporting the product, and to me, it just keeps growing and growing and growing.
well, your product's only going to grow if it's good, and Whitz is great. I mean, anybody I've talked to about it, and I'm getting a little bit more into the bigger size dirt and got some cars going and stuff, and yeah, it's just quality that in every product that like you guys sell. Even your logo. I mean, your logo is banging. Just the great colors, and it catches your eye. And one of the best things I think of the whole Whitz genre is how you guys connect big car full size racing with RC racing. I mean, obviously the Whitz midget that was at Chili Bowl, just other big cars you guys are involved with, and just that whole connection. Nobody else is really doing that. Nobody's investing in that. And when you're investing in that, you're obviously investing in your own company, but you're also saying, hey, we are ensuring that RC racing is legitimized out in the public. And I can just imagine through that exposure just how many people it brings to the hobby, right, that see that. Whether they're watching the Whitz car at Chili Bowl, and they hear and they go walk over, and then they watch RC Chili Bowl, and then they see the Whitz tents, and they see all the seriousness that again, the word I think is legitimizes. Whitz legitimizes RC racing. It's we love to say we're racing toy cars, but there's some serious money behind some of these cars to build them. There's obviously events that has some serious opportunity to win some cash and win great awards. And that's what I really respect the most about yourself, the whole Whitz organization, is you guys are no joke. Like, you're not just trying to sell stuff. You've built a brand, but you're building the community, and you will invest in that and believe in it. And that's what's pulling this whole RC deal forward. So just thank you. I guess that's the biggest exclamation I could put on, is just thank you to Whitz.
I think the most humbling thing was at one point in time, and I can't even remember who it was, but there was some talk about who are the biggest names in RC racing, in dirt oval RC racing these days, as far as support. And obviously, you're going to put GFRP and Custom Works right there at the top. I mean, you can't. Those are the top two. But I heard several people mention Whitz right after that, and to be even mentioned with those two, because those two brands have been in this. I think Dustin's right at 20 years. And Custom Works is obviously longer than 20 years, but to have those two, and then a company that, let's face it, 5 years ago when I started with Whitz, I was lucky enough to meet with Clue and get on the program, because at the time there was no connection to dirt oval. It was just a fluke, and the reason why it was a fluke was I reached out to Whitz as I was getting back into RC racing, because Casey Schumann, who was a dirt track sprint and midget driver that I was familiar with here in Indiana, was sponsored by Whitz. I saw that and I reached out and I was like, listen, I've got ties to the big car world. I'm doing little car world now too. What can we do? And it's just snowballed from there. So 5 years ago, Whitz is deeply entrenched in off-road, and fast forward 5 years and look where it's at in the dirt oval. Now, on the same token, on the off-road side, there's a world champion in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like I said, I was deeply humbled when Whitz was mentioned with the other top guys in the RC community for dirt oval. I mean, I felt like we were doing something right.
It's just an amazing story, and you just wish it was that other companies would see the value, right? And even outside of the RC community, right? We are, I'm included. We're always pulling on all you guys, right? And yes, it's nice to see it reciprocal. It's nice to see that the money stays in the hobby. It comes from a company in the hobby. Things are achieved by racers in the hobby. Money is made probably 99% of the time. They're investing that back in their cars, or buying a car that they always wanted, a GFRP or a Custom Works that's decked out with Whitz stuff. So it stays in the community, but and that's just cool. I mean, that the story you told of, you just reached out to them. You didn't know them. You reached out to them.
Not at all.
Right. If I'm testing my understanding, you didn't know it all. But they gave you time, right? Like, that's the hardest wall to break through. Like, nobody can climb that wall.
Right.
And I'm not telling anybody, hey, start calling Whitz. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, they gave you the opportunity to present. You presented a very quality view of how Whitz could come into the dirt oval world. And there was, we're not kidding anybody. There's opportunity for Whitz. Nobody goes into anything going, yeah, we'll completely lose our shirt just so we can help the community. No, it's got to go. It's a partnership. I'm not going to get on my bandwagon, but people know my big thing is,
That's my favorite word right there.
yeah, but sponsorship and partnership, completely different things, and everybody mixes them together.
Yeah, no.
Sponsorship is, hey,
What can you do for me?
yeah, can you throw me a couple bucks? This is what I want to do, and hey, I'm gonna put you on social media, and I'm gonna put your stickers on my car, and even in the big car world, I'm gonna put you on my trailer, and I'm gonna have you on this uniform. That does nothing. I could take 100 people, walk them through the pits at a big car race, and then give them a piece of paper and say, give me 10 sponsors that you saw in those cars. They're not going to remember unless they go there every week and they know the cars. They're going to kind of, unless there's a UPS car or a FedEx car, that might hit their brain. But if it's, Fred's Automotive, they're not going to remember that, right?
Right.
So that's sponsorship. Partnership goes both ways, right? You said
Yep.
it. Sponsorship is one way.
What can we do with each other?
Partnership is both ways. And if that equation for that company isn't, they're going to make more money than they're going to give you, it's going to fail. It's going to be a one and done. We used to run midgets, and my son ran all kinds of stuff, late models and ARCA and all this stuff. And there were some partnerships we turned down because I'm like, no, this is going to be a one and done, and that's going to be bad for them, and that's going to be bad for us. So, but then we did partnership deals with like a tire company, F&F Tire here in Wisconsin. They were with us for 20 years of racing. But you know what? I never go, man, I can't believe that they gave us all that money, because you know what? We made them way more money than they gave us. And that's how it should work. And that's what that's what you're doing for Whitz, and that's what Whitz is doing for, the different programs that you're involved with. So what a great story. What a great partnership.
Oh man, and face it, we've got a ton of other companies that are pretty big in dirt oval. That I mean, people that put in the legwork, don't be afraid to reach out to them. I mean, Kevin Abbott at Team Exalt, him and AJ Marasco, solid to talk to, solid to get along with. They've got a solid company, solid brand. They put a lot into dirt oval. I mean, look at the J Concepts guys; they're putting a ton in dirt oval. So I mean, you gotta look at those guys too. You got to look at the guys that are putting back into it, and there are the others that are putting back into it. So, I mean, there's not a stair step. There's not a tier system. You know who's putting into dirt oval.
Right. Yeah. And make sure, racers, as you're listening to this, get that in your head. Support these companies. That's your best way to thank them. That's the best way for them to stay, and that's the best way for them to grow. But at the end of the day, it's a great way for you to appreciate what they're doing for the hobby, because we all know RC, it can be great today and go stale tomorrow. But
I mean, you look at the trend of foam tire to rubber tire. I mean, everybody, the big topic this week is how do we make foam tire great again?
Right.
I never ran foam tires, so I don't know where the divide started happening, and I don't know whether it's making a trend back, but man, after seeing the duels this week and keeping an eye on it, I've got the itch to run a foam tire car.
We talk about the duels for a second, and I kind of had a wild, humbling moment there. I went up there to watch some great racing, and I got exactly what I hoped for. It was like Christmas morning of RC car racing, oval dirt. But you know what? You walk around, and there's so many people I've just met doing like RC underground road shows and doing the show, and all these people are in one building. And I thought, man, like, how fortunate are we that we have something that brings people from all over the place under one roof, and pretty much everybody knows everybody, right? And if you didn't know them when you got there Friday or whenever they started Thursday practicing, you sure knew them by Saturday night, right? And it's just so cool. And I'm sure there's other hobbies and clubs and things that have something similar, but for our part of the world, the RC community is like the minute you meet somebody and you just know they race RC cars, they're like immediate RC family. And like you would do anything for them and they do anything for you. And, you know, you just saw so much of that through the week. People borrowing people's stuff. No, you know, here's $20. No. Just take it. Just take it. Get ready. Get
Somebody
going.
breaks something, and usually there's 5 people there to see if they need the part.
Yeah. And they, you know,
Yeah.
that morning they didn't even know each other. But now they're just like, no, let's get you going. Let's, you know, it's just, it was, I love to race. Don't get me wrong. I love to do, you know, the roadshow stuff, but it was kind of cool to just be able to soak it all in. And just, you know, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Going, man, it's like a lot of people here. And I know a lot of them. And they all know each other. And I know it's going to be the same thing at Four Crown. That's going to be a high level professional event, but you know, the community is the community. Like that's still the draw. That's still the reason people come, is because they want to see people that they know in the hobby. They want to see the best of the best. And again, to have them all under one roof like that at PTs, which I'm sorry, I'll probably get a line of people saying, no, my track is better. No, my track is better. We have the greatest racing here. PTs is it. PTs is it. And I haven't even been there yet. I haven't even seen the track myself.
There is a big joke going around, and it's been going around for a while. And I'll say it, and they give me flack for saying it, but PT's is the premier facility in the Midwest. And I say the Midwest because I've not done a whole lot of traveling outside of our Midwest, but you cannot argue that it is a premier facility. And the beauty of it is they did not label themselves as a premier facility. The crowd, the racers, the competition has labeled that as a premier facility.
And I think that's what's going to happen next weekend, because it's going to be a premier event at a premier facility. So Four Crown is going to be amazing, but you're barely going to take a breath, and then it's going to be summertime, and then you're not resting on that. You're jumping right in. You guys, Whitz is coming out with the Tri-State Challenge. Tell us a little bit about what that's got going on.
So I'm gonna throw Rob Rennis under the bus for this. Rob Rennis was at Backyard for the very final race at Backyard, and he knew that we had done, let's say, 4 races with Tony at Backyard, actual Whitz races. And he comes over to me and he says, where are you going to have the Whitz race next year? I don't know. I mean, I haven't really thought of it. At that point in time, Raw was just sort of coming into their own, and they were starting. So who would have known that Raw was going to become the track that has become already? So I said, I don't know. Why? What are you thinking, Rob? He goes, I'll host it. All right, let's do it. Then we get to talking and had a couple little moments of thinking about things. And Rob calls me one night and he says, man, it'd be pretty cool to get a couple more tracks on board with that. And I was like, it's funny because I can think of maybe one great track in every state and a handful of very solid tracks in every state. And it's hard to say this a great track, but tracks that you've went to and you've just said, oh my God, this would be a great place for a big event. Mm-hmm. Cedar Bluff last year had 220 some entries for the Elite Series. Cedar Bluff with the Elite Series when Tony and Kristen ran it always had huge entries, always had great races. So I started talking to Tim and Zach Gokin. Man, what would you think about doing a race here? Well, what are you thinking? Well, this is what I'm thinking. Okay. Yeah, we'd be interested. And then I'm very selfish when I say this. Rawls came in to be a great track. The people that run it, Rob and Audra Wilkie, Shannon Huffman, the Groovers, they do an amazing job with that track. And, the Friday Night Lights series went off with a bang. I mean, it was huge. We started talking. We're like, what if we did a race here? And I say I'm selfish because it's 7 minutes from my back door. So they agreed to it too. And I said, okay, let's just do a 3-state series: Indiana, Iowa, and Illinois. 3 races, 3-point series. We'll finish it raw. Done. Get to talking to all 3 of them, and yeah, that sounds great. Listen, I want to spread the weekends out a little bit so nobody's traveling back-to-back weekends.
Right.
I don't want to step on these tracks. I don't want to step on this. I don't want to step on this. This is where I want to be. This is where we want to be. This is what I feel comfortable with. And mark my words, we have a good season this season. We are not adding shows next season. It's still going to be 3 track. Now, a year from now, 2 years from now, is it still going to be the same 3 tracks? I don't know. Depends on what they want to do and what we end up doing. But, the grand scheme of things, it would be great to have more tracks in each state to choose from. More track. That way, we're not going back to the same 3 tracks every year.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice to be able to pull another track out of Iowa and go there. It'd be nice to pull another track. And Illinois, let's face it, Illinois has a ton of great potential tracks. Illinois is like a hotbed of dirt oval during the summer. So, Illinois, we could feasibly find another track. Not to take it away from Cedar Bluff, but it'd be great to be able to share the wealth. Mm-hmm. Indiana right now, losing Backyard, we lost a huge track. Raw has filled the void. But other than that, we really only have a couple tracks. Shane Sanders has 5-star up north. Was it, I want to say Raceway 39. I may be wrong on that. Sam Johnson with Raceway 39, they're supposed to be building a track. But Raw is our staple track in Indiana right now. You got Comiskey down south. So it's hard to say that we're going to be able to put another track on the map next year for here. I don't know much about Iowa to say that we could put another track out there, but I think you'll see it. It's going to stay the 3 I's. It's going to stay Indiana, Iowa, and Illinois. And until we can find something else, those are going to be the 3 tracks as long as they still want to be involved. Being the first season, we're going to have hiccups. We're going to make mistakes. Hold us accountable. We're gonna find out what works the best, and we're gonna roll with it. The plus this year is last year wasn't the year for me to do this. Last year I was still in big car racing, still had a career in professional motorsports, and this year I'm away from it. I'm no longer in the professional motorsports world, so I now have the time to dedicate to it. Team JFRP's jumped on board. Dustin's going to be one of our title sponsors for the series. Those guys always have solid competition. I talked to Billy Fisher and Max Fleur out at RC Chili Bowl, and I'm not going to say they're committed, but the races are on their radars also. And been trying to communicate with them quite a bit to get Custom Works to get their guys up here too. Get Custom Works to start running the Midwest again. That would be huge to get them back to where they're racing against each other all the time on high bite, medium bite, and loose dirt. That would be huge. So hopefully we can get that taken care of. I'm optimistic that we're gonna have a great season.
Naming all the the tracks and the people involved. I mean, you've really kind of put the all-star cast together that. There's no way it couldn't be successful. No way racers can't get excited to want to be involved in that. And just really smart, well, everything you put together, Kevin. Let's be honest. You said it yourself off air. You expect perfection. not in yourself. And so if you're putting this together on paper, there's no way you were ever going to announce it live or, it be out there the way it has been if you didn't feel confident that the show will be a good show.
Well, I mean, Brad Brucker's got a very solid facility at BB Mods. Mm-hmm. But then you also got Jacksonville RC. They've got a great track too. I'm going to say, I saw this last week, and I've talked to him a little bit, but I saw this last week that Matt Steiger down at Farmer City basically tore everything out.
Right.
To step up the game.
Yep.
Farmer City, we had a great race down there last year for the Hell Tour, for Brad Brucker's Hell Tour. Great race down there, loved the place, and for Matt to go in and say, okay, we got to change this, 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 and he's improving without. There's several tracks doing that. So to say that there's not going to be another track that could step up and to be that other track, it's not unheard of.
Right. So let's help those tracks out a little bit. What makes the 3 tracks that you're going to run at, what makes them stand out? And I know it's not just the dirt. There's so many other facets to it. So if you had like a checklist of, well, here's a few things that make these tracks stand out. What is that so that other track owners and promoters can start their wheels turning on like what they would need to do?
Man, I'm the last person to tell a promoter what he needs to do. The facility's clean. They were constantly making sure the track was there. The program ran smooth. And here's the biggest thing. Everybody in that pit area was approachable. If you were new there, they were approaching you. That's the biggest thing. I mean, the atmosphere to me is the biggest thing. Absolutely. I mean, if I walk into a track and nobody is personable at all, and the track is the best track ever, I don't know that I'm going to feel like I'm welcome to go back. But the atmosphere is so much different when everybody is personable. Nobody just stuck their nose up or anything like that. Everybody was personable. Cedar Bluff is the same way. I've been to Cedar Bluff every year since I started racing. Did my first year racing. Matt Ridgway and I did the Hell Tour over there. And same thing, the atmosphere. Everybody in the pits. Everybody was friendly. Everybody was approachable. Everybody was willing to help you. And that's the biggest thing is the atmosphere. I mean, the track could have so much character and holes in it and go dry slick or, it rubbers in a groove or something. But at the end of the night, if the atmosphere is right, you're not going to worry about, oh, well, it had a huge hole in turn 1. The guys over there were great to deal with.
Right.
They were awesome to race with. Atmosphere is the biggest thing.
So here's a curious thing. You could have $1 million and put it in your racetrack, hypothetically. But the number one thing to make a track successful doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost you money.
Attitude and mentality.
Right. You just got to go in it with the right attitude and know that you are hosting people and knowing that, keep the show moving. You mentioned too, this costs money, but lighting. A lot of these races are going to go into the evening, and you gotta have it well lit. Decent parking, organized how the pits are going to work out. Make sure you got enough electricity, or do people have to bring generators? Getting the word out. But you said it. The number one thing doesn't cost a dime, and that's just make it a great environment for people to come and race RC cars. All right, so you got 4 Crown coming up. It's next week. Anything else we need to know about 4 Crown?
I'm excited to see the guys there. Let's face it, not only the 4 Crown, though. We can't forget King of Wings is also one more race of PTs. You got a King of Wings. I know some guys aren't making it for the 4 Crown. They're going to make it for the King of Wings. We've got a couple big races before the series kicks off, and then got a couple months before the series kicks off in June to just start building the Tri-State Series as well.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much, man. It was great when you reached out and said, hey, I would like to do a show with you. And that you took the time, a week ahead of Four Crown and everything else you got going and family life and all that stuff. It's humbling, and it means a lot to me that we could take some time and sit down and talk about this. Super excited about what's coming up, and wish you and like I said, the whole crew just a ton of success with this deal, and looking forward to talking about it year after year after year, and just watching it grow. It's going to be fun.
That's the hope. So I appreciate you taking the time with us tonight, and it means a lot to actually take the time for us. That's huge. So thank you, Dave.
Absolutely, my friend. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for RC Underground Radio this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. So have a great week. We'll see you then.
Carpy's print embroidery and wraps, where speed meets style. From RC race wraps to go-kart and full-bodied race car wraps, Carpy's is the leader in custom designs that turn heads and crush the competition. Want your gear to match your passion? We've got you covered with custom merch that shows off your racing spirit, no matter where you go. At Carpy's, we're more than just wraps. We're your race day secret weapon. Fast, bold, unforgettable. Carpy's print embroidery and wraps dominate the track, own the look.
Thank you for listening to another great podcast on the RCU radio channel. Please like, subscribe, and tell your friends to join the channel for more RC content. RCU Radio. We cover it all.